Now they trying to turn Jonathan Majors into a real-life supervillain. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Godbreaker. A man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes, Godbreaker at online booksellers today. Actor Jonathan Majors was arrested in New York City for allegedly assaulting a woman. Now, according to reports, Jonathan Majors was in the neighborhood of Chelsea, which is about 23rd Street and 6th Avenue in Manhattan or so, and as he was in this area, he got into a confrontation with a woman. And according to alleged reports from like TMZ, they are saying that Jonathan Majors got into a dispute with this woman, and as he got into a dispute with this woman, he allegedly attacked this woman. And as she went to the police, she made a statement that Jonathan Majors allegedly strangled and assaulted her. And they allegedly said that she had a laceration behind her ear, redness, and marks to her face. And as she was taken to a hospital to deal with her alleged injuries, Jonathan Majors was allegedly taken and handcuffed by the police to Central Booking and processed through Central Booking, and is now having his rep saying that he did absolutely nothing wrong. Now, this arrest couldn't come at a worse time for Jonathan Majors, who is at a high point in his career. Jonathan Majors is a rising star in Hollywood, coming off a acclaimed performance in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and while the movie was a box office failure, many praised his performance as the villain Kang the Conqueror. And Jonathan Majors was also coming off praise for his performance in the movie Creed 3, which was considered to be a box office hit, and Jonathan Majors was considered to be on his way as a rising star in Hollywood, and was going to be a core villain for the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a part of Phase 5 and Phase 6, with movies coming up like the Avengers Kang Dynasty and the Avengers Secret Wars. However, this arrest could possibly throw cold water on the career of Jonathan Majors, because what is happening to him is that it's going to optically look bad if these charges can be proven that Jonathan Majors is a man who participates in domestic violence. Because the image of a black man who participates in domestic violence is not one that would be something that the Disney and Marvel Studios could go out here and market in their films, because the appeal of a alleged woman beater is not a selling point for a movie. Now, Jonathan Majors does play a villain in the movie, but it would be hard to sell him as a villain for those movies if he's participated in real life domestic violence to all of those housewives out here and all of the children. And while many would go out here and say that there's a double standard as related to what happened, because Ezra Miller is currently getting a pass for all of his alleged infractions, we all know that Hollywood is racist, and what they will do is, again, penalize the black man as related to these kinds of charges. And again, what this does is further destroy the image of Jonathan Majors, who again was a rising star and presenting a positive image of black manhood and black masculinity up to the point of that emasculating Ebony magazine article. And what they're doing, as I believe, is with this arrest, going out here and looking to try to start creating and framing the narrative to demonize Jonathan Majors and make it where he fits into the narrative of the black brute. Because what happens with cases and stories like this is they try to go again throw cold water on the success and momentum of a black performer. And what they want to do is take that black performer and not make it where people see him as a role model. What they want to do is put him in that whole box of being a black brute. And they want to push the narrative that he is a black brute who goes out here and participates in wanton violence against women. That is the narrative that I think that the mainstream media is trying to frame around Jonathan Majors with this story. And this whole story basically shows me why black men in the entertainment industry, we have to watch how we move in these streets, because when you are in these streets doing the most innocuous things, you still have a target on your back. Now, I am quite familiar with the area of Chelsea, and I know that there are quite a few markets in that area. So if you were living in that area, and possibly Jonathan Majors was living in that area around 11 a.m., he might have been going to the Morton Williams that is, I think is on 23rd Street and Lexington, or maybe the Trader Joe's on 23rd and 6th. That's where a lot of people who live in Chelsea go to get their groceries. And there's a couple of other restaurants like a Chick-fil-A and other places on 23rd in Chelsea. So this is a primarily residential area, and it's not common to see actors like a Jonathan Majors coming down the street to go take care of their errands or take care of their business. And again, you would think, okay, I can just walk around here innocuously and people aren't going to give you a hard time. But when you are a black person and you're in the entertainment industry, you have to watch your back out here. And that is the mistake that Jonathan Majors made as he was out here, because he didn't understand that when you're out here, you have to know how to move in these streets. Because again, Chelsea is a residential area up to a point. There is some fancy retail. There is Bed Bath & Beyond in Burlington. But again, you got to watch how you move in these areas. And you have to watch how you move in these areas, because when you are a black celebrity, you have a target on your back, and that target is widened if you don't watch how you move. And what happened, I believe, with Jonathan Majors is he was just out here doing his business, but he didn't have anybody out there watching his back. And because he didn't have anybody there to watch his back, what happened was he wound up in one of these situations where he ran into one of these women, and it turned into an alleged altercation, and that alleged altercation turned into a he said, she said situation, and this is possibly what led to the arrest of Jonathan Majors. Now, I don't know if this alleged victim was actually assaulted by Jonathan Majors, nor do I know if this woman basically knew that this was Jonathan Majors who attacked him, because there are women out here who see a guy like a Jonathan Majors out here and they're looking for a payday. And when they see a guy like a Jonathan Majors out here, what they do is look to go out here and try to get themselves a out-of-court settlement by making an allegation of something, and they're looking to go out here and get themselves paid in a civil lawsuit. And that possibly could be the case here, and it also could just be a case of him just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, because there are a lot of whacked out people in that area of Chelsea, because in addition to it being a residential area, there are a lot of people out there looking for their weed. There are a lot of people out there looking for other types of drugs like the meth and the fentanyl. So that area, again, as somebody who's lived in New York City, I know that area quite well, and I know that it's not the greatest area to be in, but there's a lot of people who live in those areas, a lot of actors and a lot of performers there. And again, when you're out there, you have to watch how you move, because again, there's a lot of predators out there, and there's a lot of other weed heads and base heads in that area. So Jonathan Majors sadly was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and what the mainstream media wants to do is go out here and frame a narrative around Jonathan Majors to turn him into the brute of the month. And what they want to do is make it look like Jonathan Majors was one of these violent savages who was out here brutalizing this woman for no reason. And they want to make it look like Jonathan Majors is some sort of violent brute. And that's what they try to do to black actors. What they try to do is demonize them. And the only way you can try to avoid these situations, again, is watch how you move in these streets. Because when you move in these streets and you're working in the entertainment industry, you have to understand that you have a target on your back and you have a lot of people looking to get paid. And when they look to get paid, they can cost you your career, because optically it doesn't look good for a Jonathan Majors to be caught up in this type of domestic violence incident as the face of the MCU's bad guy, because while you are a bad guy on screen, you don't want to be labeled as a black brute, because black performers are judged differently. Because Ezra Miller, the white guy from a certain religion, he's seen as being able to continue being the star of the Flash movie. However, I don't think Jonathan Majors would get that type of support from Kevin Feige and Disney in the face of these charges. And that's again why you got to keep your eyes open, because this is about protecting your paper and it's about protecting your money, because people see black performers and they see an easy payday, like they did in the case of Cuba Gooding Jr., like they did in the case of Bill Cosby. And Cuba Gooding basically was in that same area or close to that area when he got jammed up. So black performers, again, you got to watch yourself out here. And when I look at what happened with Jonathan Majors, again, this couldn't come at a worse time for him, because he's at the rise of his career, and it couldn't come at a worse time for Marvel Studios, which is in free fall. And with Marvel Studios' lead villain, the actor playing the lead villain, stuck in this situation, this is not optically good for them, because Jonathan Majors was supposed to play Kang in Phase 5 and Phase 6. He was supposed to reprise his role as Kang in the Kang Dynasty. He was supposed to reprise his role in the Secret Wars movie. I mean, he was a major component of these movies, and I wonder if Jonathan Majors would get the support that Ezra Miller received as related to his numerous alleged criminal infractions. Warner Brothers allowed him to stay in the Flash role, even though he had, again, assaulted women and had also been allegedly grooming children. Again, I wonder if they'll give Jonathan Majors the same second chance, because I know that there's a major difference between Hollywood in black and white, and I know that there's a major difference in Hollywood between black and white as related to punishment, because while Ezra Miller will get a pass and be allowed to be the face of the Flash movie and merchandising, I wonder if Jonathan Majors would get the same treatment as related to the billions of dollars that are at stake as related to Marvel Studios, because these charges basically, they can be used to destroy a black performer. And again, I'm just really sad to hear about this as related to Jonathan Majors. But the lesson here from Jonathan Majors is, for every black performer, when you're starting to rise, again, you got to watch how you move in these streets. You got to watch how you're moving around. And sometimes it's best to have people with you and have people recording stuff, because that's how you protect yourself. Because when you have people with you, there's a witness that's there, and there's also cameras in that area, so hopefully that might help him too. Because again, I know all about that Chelsea area, and again, it's an area that is residential, but it also has a lot of shady characters. So again, it's one of those areas where you got to watch yourself. And Jonathan Majors took his eye off of things in that area, and it basically made it where he wound up in a situation where he sadly got jammed up. And I'm hoping he can get out of this jam, because I would like to see him have a long, promising career, because he has lots of potential as a performer. But he's got to learn how to watch himself in this entertainment industry, and he's got to learn how to watch how he moves in the streets of New York. Now, If you want to pick up some of my action-packed fantasy fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find my books like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. I also have the vampire novel Eternal Night, the sorority story The Thetas, and A Recipe for Success on Amazon and on numerous formats. And you can find those books also on Amazon and other online booksellers like Smashwares, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos about superheroes, comic books, science fiction, and fantasy, and the entertainment industry, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewolf in this action-packed all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman in paperback and e-readers today.
Now available in paperback, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Pick up your copy of John Haynes at Death's Door at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere.